Hello, I'm Richard Ridge for BroadwayWorld. Piece of My Heart, The Bert Berns Story, is the new musical based on the songs and life of legendary songwriter Bert Berns, who gave us such hit songs as Twist and Shout, I Want Candy, and Cry Baby. And I'm here on opening night to celebrate with the company. Congratulations, it's opening night. How do you feel tonight?
I feel amazing. It's been an incredible... I've been working on this for 5 years, and the last 4 weeks of previews, the show has just grown. It's grown over 5 years, but really putting it in front of an audience and letting an audience hear these songs and connect with this music and this story has been incredibly exciting.
What attracted you originally to write the book?
Well, it was twofold. The story is incredible. He lived a really dramatic, interesting life that no one knows about, and he wrote some of the greatest music ever written, and the songs feel meaty and soulful, and that that the songs he wrote could work in telling his story, that somehow they were his story, and it was just an exciting penny drop moment that we could really use these songs to tell the story of his life and not just use them in sort of like a concert kind of way. So that was really thrilling.
So what did you learn about the piece over the last 4 weeks, adding the audience into the mix here in New York?
We learned a lot. Well, first of all, we learned that, people just go crazy for Twist and Shout. In the room, you sort of forget which songs are famous and which ones aren't, and you're looking at moments, and then all of a sudden you put it in front of an audience, and people... these songs are in our bones, and people connect to them in a deep way. We had taken a verse out of Twist and Shout because we thought it was sort of slow, and then we put it in front of an audience, and we were like, we gotta double it, and we gotta put it in the curtain call, and so that was really fun. And also just that people really went along for the ride. People, not only were they sort of responding to some of the humor, but people were sort of oohing and eyeing, and the show's very sincere, and that was sort of I was hoping people would go with it, and it was thrilling that they did, and then once we knew they did, it sort of gave us freedom to go even further.
You look stunning. It is opening night. How do you feel tonight?
I feel great. The audience was just it was our friends and family, but they were just so loving, and you could really just kind of feel that elation when everything comes together, when you've been working on a show for a long time. And it just felt really good, to honor an untold story. So.
And talk about what you do in the show, what you love about it.
Playing a cougar. I'm getting to the cougar portion of my life, and ain't nothing wrong with it, So, no, I get to have a lot of fun in this one, so I really enjoy that.
And singing his score.
The music is so soulful, and you've got some gospel flavor, Latin music, and it's just it's sometimes you're in a show and you're kind of oh, these songs are playing again, but this one is always just driving and the beat, and sometimes I stand in the wings and I watch Linda Hart and stuff like that, so it's fun. It's fun.
Audiences are loving the show. What is it like when you get their reaction immediately?
It's wonderful because, when you work on stuff for so long, sometimes you can't see exactly what it is. And then it takes, fresh eyes, people from the outside looking in. And it makes you feel good because it means that you're doing your job and you're telling the story. So.
And working with this company of actors.
Just talent to the left of me, talent to the right of it. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. Linda Hart is just that's a master class every night. And I got to meet Leslie Kritzer on this one, and Teal Wicks, just two phenomenal women. And I'm just, I feel blessed. I'm happy.
If you could sum up the best part of the experience so far, what is it for you?
Oh, man. Well, music has always been my first love. And so... And I actually grew up listening to a lot of oldies when my friends were listening to contemporary music. So to find out that someone is finally getting their due with being known, that just kind of makes you feel like you're a part of bringing someone to justice in that way, and that feels good as an artist. It's kind of like art meets politics and I like that.
Congratulations, it's opening night. The last time I saw you was in the rehearsal room when you put that incredible morning together for the press. How do you feel tonight?
It's exhilarating. I mean, we've had such lovely audiences, but I think tonight was probably the loveliest of all of them. And I think the show's in great shape, and we're very ready to share it with the world. So tonight was actually a huge pleasure.
Tell me what you love about his songs and the material. I mean, you spearheaded this whole thing about what you wanted to do with this show.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's such an interesting catalog because obviously there are the songs that we know very well, the songs that are part of our sort of American rock and roll songbook, but there's so much undiscovered material, so much of his music that nobody has ever heard. I think I take the greatest pleasure and pride in bringing that music to people. So many songs that should be radio songs that we should all know, that no one's ever heard before. So I think those songs particularly are exciting to me.
So what has the past 4 weeks been like during the preview period for you?
well, busy.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's been busy. I think in the best way.
Yeah.
We had 4 lovely weeks of previews at Signature, which allowed us to put it in front of audiences and hear what works well and what doesn't work, and make adjustments and rewrites and cuts and expansions, and do all of the things that I think a show in previews does. So hopefully we use that time well, and that has sort of brought us to tonight.
You have used it well, believe me. And talk about this cast you're working with.
This cast is ridiculous. I mean, I know them so well at this point. I mean, I'm every day I'm sort of thrilled by their talent. But again, like to hear the audience responses for people that they don't necessarily know, I'm just every day kind of like just sort of reinvest in my belief in their brilliance. They're incredible.
You are so good at what you do, wearing both hats as choreographer and director. What do you love the most about wearing both those hats?
Oh, what do I love most about it? I shouldn't say, because I spend most of my time as choreographer and collaborating with directors, which I love because it's great to have that other person there to kind of to work with and to collaborate with and stuff. I actually don't know how to answer that question. It's for this.
Yeah.
It was terrific to do both because I like to think that the sort of the movement, the dance, the block, it feels like it's all part of one idea. So I was very happy to have the opportunity to approach it by myself. But I love collaborating with directors as well. It's all good. It's all good.
Congratulations, it's opening night. How do you feel?
Man, we finally made it. It's been a long, long road, and to finally put it on its feet, we can kind of live in it. The audiences they're really loving it, and it's just a dream come true. I'm having the greatest time. Yeah.
The last time I saw you was in the rehearsal room that day. You guys opened it for us. You blew the roof off of the Signature.
Oh, thank you.
What was it like putting it in front of an audience for the first time?
For the first time, the audience is it's the last cast member, if you will. It's the last piece of the puzzle, and they let us know if we're telling the story right or if we're not telling it right. And gladly they were with us. And it just was heartwarming. They were clapping with us and yelling and screaming, so we knew we were on the right road. Yeah.
Talk about what you do in the show.
All right, so my character, his name is Hoagie Lands, who is a really good friend of Bert Berns. He actually was like one of Bert Berns' first artists that he used to give all of his songs to, and I have the pleasure of playing him.
Talk about his beautiful songs. Did you know a lot of them before you started the show?
I knew nothing of him, which was funny, and I went on YouTube and saw a couple of clips on it, and I was like, man, this guy can really sing, and I wanted to, honor him and do him justice. And he was an amazing artist, really an amazing artist, and he never quite, made it as a true successful artist. He definitely had some success, but he wasn't as big as I would have loved him to be. Yeah.
And talk about working with the cast.
Oh man, this cast. Well, headed by Dennis. Dennis Michael Jones is an amazing director. We've had the best time with him. He paints really good pictures. Yeah. And this cast, man, I get to work with, I knew some of them, like Leslie Kritzer. I've known her for years. We've never worked together. We've been friends for years. And to work with some of these people, and for the first time, it's just so fun, and it's so heartwarming, and no one takes themselves seriously, but they take the work very seriously, which makes working very fun.
Do you have a favorite song you do in the show?
My favorite song is Twist and Shout, man. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
And I can't believe I actually sing it. I can't believe I have the honor of singing it. And they let me put my own little spin on it, which is also great. My favorite song. Yeah.
If you could sum up the best part of the experience working on the show, what is it for you?
Learning about a man who I feel like I should have known, All these songs I knew about. I knew most of the songs. And to learn more about his life, to meet his children, to meet his family, and to see the love of this artist. He's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He hasn't gotten the credit, that he is long overdue. And to learn about this important pioneer in music, it's been inspiring.
So here we are. I always love seeing you out at Broadway shows. Tell me why you wanted to see this one, Paul.
Well, this, of course, is a subject close to my heart. The music of Bert Berns and his life story, which is so incredibly interesting. But his stuff, there's so much of it, so many hits, so much soulful stuff, and Latin-influenced rock and roll. Absolutely marvelous. But my first job in New York was on Broadway. 1974, The Magic Show.
Yeah.
Which was great music by Stephen Schwartz, but this is fantastic music by Mr. Bert Berns and his collaborators.
You tell me what you thought of the show tonight.
I saw the show in a preview production of it, or a workshop production of it, a few months ago. I hear it's better now. I had to work on the David Letterman show for some of the last.
Oh, that little show.
For some of the last times, and so no, I didn't. I was too late to go to the show. I couldn't get out of work, but I came over here, just to tell everybody that I can't wait to see it, and I'm going to see it as soon as I can.
Eventually, would you like to come back to Broadway in some capacity, working on it?
Working on Broadway. Well, it's everyone's, dream to work on Broadway, and I'm working on Broadway now on the Letterman show. We're at the theater right next to the Broadway Theater, the Ed Sullivan Theater. Broadway's fantastic, and of course, I would love to do it any time. And it's hard work though to do shows. People don't understand it. Those 8 a week.
Oh yeah.
Talk about the discipline required in theater. That's why.
But what memories do you have? Magic Show was one of my all-time favorite shows with Doug Henning and Grover Dale put it together. I mean, talk about what it was like working and the memories you have of working on the Magic Show.
Well, it was I had just moved to New York. I moved to New York to do the Magic Show, and we were rehearsing on the Upper West Side somewhere in the 80s. I don't remember where. But Grover, of course, every day. Anita, the late, great Anita Morris was his wife, and she was in the show, and the cutest, sexiest thing. And I wouldn't even know where to start. It was a hell of an experience, though.
Well, I love seeing you come out to the theater all the time. Tell me what you thought tonight.
Oh, it was fantastic. I was able to sit in on one of the readings months ago, so it was very exciting to see everybody up on stage and the way it was staged and choreographed. Amazing. I loved it. I thought it was great. And you loved it too, right?
I was very, very impressed. I mean, a big fan of Bert Berns, so I was very happy when I heard it was going to happen. And obviously we knew the songs would be great, but it's tricky. It's very, very difficult. These music-oriented type of biographical shows. We did one ourselves, with the Rascals last year, and they're not as easy as they look. But we found that the best way to do it is to tell the real story rather than a fictionalized sort of, I think most of the time, there's an exception or two, but the fictionalized stories tend not to last, where the real stories tend to do well, like Jersey Boys, and that's what we did with the Rascals too. We told the real story. This with Bert Berns is the real story.
What about producing? You did such a beautiful job with putting the Rascals together. I loved growing up with their music. I thought your show was phenomenal that you brought to New York. How much fun did you have working on that?
It was amazing. It was a very long process, and we were very, very involved in it. The casting, and of course Stephen was really very hands-on in it. But it was just was great because they were childhood heroes, and both of ours, and we're from New Jersey. They were mostly from New Jersey, so it was just a real thrill to be able to do that and put them back together again, and hear people's reactions and see people's reactions.
Yeah, and you're nervous as well because you don't want to screw it up. Because it's your heroes, because you're trying to present them to a new generation or do something that's going to last for many generations to come, hopefully. You want to do it right, so it was a little bit of anxiety involved. But that opening night was the most thrilling night of my life. I mean, to hear people, I've been, Maureen's been in theater her whole life. I've been playing rock and roll my whole life, so we've been on that side, of the stage. But to sit in an audience and have people laugh at something you wrote, or cry at something you wrote, was a whole new experience for me, and thrilling. It was just simply thrilling, and I became a real theater person, really, totally that night, forever.
First of all, it's opening night. How do you feel tonight?
I feel great. So happy. Everything's great. I'm so excited to be here, doing the party. Everything's wonderful. I'm just so thrilled we finally made it.
Because the last time I saw you was in the rehearsal room when you guys blew the roof off of the Signature that morning. What's it been like doing this show in front of an audience?
I mean, it comes alive, it's like, it's totally different now that we're in front of people and we're able to share it, and that's why we're here. We want to share it with everyone, and so we're just so happy that we're able to do that. It's really the story of a man who really persevered and wanted to share his life and his legacy, and that's what this is about, and so we're just happy to be able to do that.
Talk about what you do in the show.
Well, I play his daughter, and she really didn't know her dad, and she really is on the quest to find out who her father was, and so that's really what it's about for me, and continuing his legacy, which is what I find my passion is in life when I don't really have one.
Sure. Did you know his stuff well before you started the show?
No, not really, no, I didn't. So this was, I knew Twist and Shout, I knew all this stuff, but I really didn't know him the way I know him now. So he's up there smiling.
Oh, I know that. I'm just thrilled that I was brought up on these songs. I'm like, I had no idea who wrote these songs. Then when I saw the show, I was like, oh my God, he wrote all these hit songs at such a young age before he passed away.
I know, it's amazing.
All right, now you're working with this great cast, especially the woman next to you.
I know, Linda, I love her. What's not to love? Love her.
What's it been like working with this company?
It's amazing. It's the most incredible cast ever. Love everyone, and there's not a bad person in the group.
Yeah.
Amazing.
If you could sum up the best part of the experience of working on this show, what's it been for you, Leslie?
You know what? Working with a group of people that really all put their, putting on a musical is the hardest thing to do. Yeah. So now that we did that and we're putting it all together, it's just, we did it. And so we're just proud of each other.
Congratulations. It's opening night. You look gorgeous. How do you feel?
Show me. Night of what? Piece of my heart.
That's stunning.
No, more. Well, opening night of what? Piece of my heart.
This is stunning. Who are you wearing?
This is a new designer, Colin Davis Jones.
Well, it is stunning. And your bag?
The bag is Jimmy Crystal, and that's the broken heart.
Gorgeous. How do you feel tonight?
I feel like a piece of my heart flew off the stage tonight. I'm so happy to be the heart in Piece of My Heart. It was a really wonderful experience. The audience got everything, heard everything, enjoyed everything, and seemed to really appreciate it. And it was thrilling to have the Bert Berns story told that hasn't been told. People do not know his name. And to have this incredible music, 51 songs on the chart between 1960 and 1967. This is a tragedy that this man isn't known, but I think tonight might change that.
Oh, I think it will. Tell me what it's like, been working on this show, what it's been like for you.
I've been working on the show for 4 years, doing lots of workshops, and we did Vassar, and it's been a slow process of getting to sort of define the character, because I can't wait to meet the real Irene Berns, and she's coming. And Eileen, we're waiting for you with open arms. And I hope she appreciates the version. And I can't wait to tell her how, she was very successful as Bert. She ran the publishing and the catalog and Bang Records after Bert died for many years. So she was quite accomplished and hell of a woman, raised 3 kids on her own, ran a business by herself. So it's kind of thrilling to be playing such a powerful woman in that decade.
Yeah. And working with this cast.
Cast is fantastic. Leslie Kritzer, who plays my daughter, who we never got to do Hairspray together, but she came into Hairspray. But we got to do Great American Trailer Park together. I love her. I get her sense of humor. We get each other, and it's a real thrill to have such talent on stage. It's everybody can dance, everybody can sing, and everybody can act.
If you could sum up the best part of the experience for you, Linda, with working on this show, what is it?
Singing I'm a Liar. A song that Bert wrote that was recorded by Betty Harris and is one of the very few songs in the show that wasn't a giant hit. So to get to sing a song that is a totally, almost new song, but it tells a story. It tells a story beautifully. It's almost as if he wrote it now for the character. And Betty Harris has been to see us a couple times. She will come back, and she does the song brilliantly. Yeah. But I'm thrilled to get to do it as well.
You all look great. You look gorgeous. How do you feel tonight?
Really, really great. It was, it's the audience was just so wonderful and so appreciative, and it was a blast. We've been on a long road with this show, and it feels really good to just be at opening.
Tell me what it's been like working on the show.
It's been a while since I've done like a really, really new piece, and having pre-existing music, it's tricky trying to find the balance of the songs and having them being storytelling songs when they're sort of pop songs and using that in the storytelling. So there's like little snips here and there that we've been doing, but mostly trying to streamline everything. And it feels like now we've sort of reached the point where we're just going on the journey every night, telling the story. So it's good.
Talk about what you do in the show and what you love about playing her.
Oh, Eileen. I play Miss Young Eileen. I play the young version of Miss Fabulous Linda Hart. So just trying to live up to Linda Hart is a whole ordeal in itself, and it's so fun to embrace her. And I get to jump up on a box and do a little go-go dancing with a little fringe, and it's it's really fun. I get really nervous every night before it, and it's always super fun and like just like totally just free and easy up there.
If you could sum up the best part of the experience for you with working on the show, what is it?
It is absolutely every single person that's been involved in the show. The cast is amazing. The creatives are spectacular. Like, everybody is sweet, genuine, huge-hearted people that work their butts off, and that's a joy.
You all clean up so well. You look sensational. Who are you wearing?
Tom Ford.
That is amazing.
Yeah, it is. I love it. It's my favorite.
Okay, it's opening night. How do you feel tonight?
Oh man, relieved. Probably that's the first word that popped into my head. It's been an amazing process, and I'm just so glad that we get to celebrate it and just focus on telling the story now.
Tell me what it's been like working on this show.
It's honestly been a dream. I mean, it's a dream come true for me to be able to play a role like this, and Bert, I think just it's so time to tell this story. I've been saying that I think any one of the things that Bert has done in his career makes him a legend, and you take all of the things that he's done in his career, and it's just, it's an unbelievable body of work, and I'm so glad to be able to be part of the telling of that story.
And singing these songs, he wrote all these hit songs at such a young age before he passed away.
Yeah, the songs, you really couldn't ask for much more, especially from a jukebox musical. The songs have heart, no pun intended, or I guess full pun intended, and they move the story along in a nice way, and melodic, obviously, in the best way, and it's a dream. It's great.
And what it's like playing him? Did you do a lot of research?
I did a fair amount of research. Most of the research was just having Brett and Cassie, his kids, in the room. It was so great to just hear from them. You know, I mean, they are the biggest source of knowledge as to who this man was. But other than that, I mean, sort of we don't really know actually his story. We're taking from here, and you know, Brent and Cassie don't really know either. They take from their mom, they take from Wazzle, and that's sort of how the story is drawn as well. So we're all kind of guessing as to who he was, and we're trying to do sort of the best job that we can.
Do you have a favorite song?
Here Comes the Night, for sure.
How come?
I mean, it's Act 1 finale. It's like, it's just, as an actor, it's the best moment. It's so fun for me.
If you could sum up the best part of the experience of working on this show, what's it been for you, Zach?
The people, hands down. I mean, there's no denying the ability in that room. I mean, you just sit there and you just I don't think that there's anything better than going to a show and knowing that you're in good hands. And I have always felt in very good hands with these people.
What does tonight mean to the two of you?
Ooh, finally.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy we're here. We're just happy to be celebrating, let our hair down a little bit.
It's a culmination of 11 years since we originated the idea, and 7 years in New York working in the heart of the New York theater community, and it's really a dream come true to have it happen tonight.
You know, the last time I saw you two was in the rehearsal room where you guys blew the roof off the Signature at like 10 o'clock in the morning, and you're doing that every night at the theater. Audiences are loving the show. What is it like for the two of you sitting there watching the audience react to your dad's music?
It really is a dream come true. I mean, the jokes are landing, the tears are falling, and people leave knowing who Bert Berns is, and that is, if we do nothing else, they know him now through his music too.
It is surreal, and we brought our father back to life on the living stage, and that was always our goal. And when his friends and family come and see the show and they're like, that's Bert, that's the greatest validation we could ever imagine for the show.
It's funny, I'm sure the audience sits there and says, oh my God, I didn't know Bert wrote that. Oh my God, here comes another one. And he wrote all these songs at such a young age before he passed, and they were all such personal songs. That's what I love about your dad's. They were all about what he was going through, right? A lot of it.
We didn't really understand that till much later when we took to heart, our mother would say to us, your dad said one thing, my children will know me through my music. And growing up, Twist and Shout and Hang on Sloopy, they don't tell you that much. I mean, I'm so proud of those songs, but when we started to steep ourselves into the deeper R&B catalog, we learned about
we realized
really how deep his soul was.
Yeah, and the songs are so autobiographical, and that was a major revelation for us, and it made it very sort of easy to tell his story in his own song, the songs.
And I love the way the story's being told. I mean, talk about the whole process of working on this and watching it grow over the years, and particularly over the last 4 weeks.
I mean, it's just been the longest journey. We've been at New York Theater Workshop, New York Stage and Film. Here we are at the Signature Theater, you know, as a sort of like a four-wall, but I mean, like they really put their arms around us, and we gave ourselves a nice long rehearsal period, preview period, and Dennis Jones has been masterful with his direction and his choreography.
Daniel Goldfarb. I can't believe the changes that happen all the way up until the last day, and just tightening up everything so that it's just moving. I'm so proud of the work that everybody has done to make this show happen.
But, you know, that's what it's like here in New York. I mean, you had a beautiful preview period, but the audience is that extra character that's brought in it when you keep honing and honing and honing, and all the pieces come together.
Yeah, no, it's been incredible to watch the audience reaction to this show, and you know, I mean, it's really. We really, when we set out, we didn't realize that like it would have this kind of impact, especially with like, everybody loves the show. It's like, the African Americans, the Jews, the Italians,
everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah,
something for everybody.
And just talk about the cast. What a beautiful cast.
Oh my gosh, the cast. Thank you, Rachel Hoffman and
Yes,
Telzy.
Rachel.
Our cast are just one after the other, dreamy, dreamy, dreamy. I mean, really.
Yeah.
Come see this show, you guys. It's a treat.
So my final question is, when the cast took their bow tonight, what went through your minds?
Well, I lost my voice about 3 days ago, screaming for every one of them as they come out, starting with Teresa Gaddison. She takes the stage first, and I don't know, she's been with us for a long time, and she brings such spirit and soul. But I mean, really, I lost my voice because every one of them deserves a full woohoo.
Yeah, we couldn't be more proud and in love with this cast. It really, I feel like it's one of the greatest companies working in New York today, and we just thank you. We love them all.